Good morning, Year 2. Today we are going to look at unit fractions, okay, where the numerator is 1, okay, and you will learn more about that in a minute. Before we get started, we've got our warm-up questions, get our brains really warmed up, okay, so I want you to have a look at the questions, pause the video, answer them, unpause your video, and then you will hear me go through them for you. So question 1. Does the picture show 1/3 shaded? Yes, it does, because my whole is split into 3 equal parts and one of them is shaded. Remember, it doesn't matter which one, it doesn't have to be the first one, it can be any of them. So 1 out of the 3 is shaded. Question 2. Work out 1/2 of 24. Remembering that when you're looking for half, you are splitting it in 2. So get 24 and share it between 2 groups, and your answer will be 12. Number 3. Is the line of symmetry correct? Now, there is a line, but it is not directly down the middle. The parts are not the same on either side, because if I folded this pentagon in half, it would not meet neatly at the corners. So no, the line of symmetry would need to be here to be correct. Work out 27 add 9. I hope you used the number line if you found that tricky. Some of you will have done 27 add 10 and then taken away 1, which is just as useful as a number line, okay? So, what do you notice about these shapes? So I've got a circle with 1 part shaded. I've got a cross with 1 part shaded. I've got, what shape is this? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, so that must be a hexagon with 1 part shaded, and I've got a triangle with 1 part shaded. So they are all split into equal parts with 1 part shaded. Remember, when we're doing these things, the shaded part is always the colour and the white is unshaded, okay? And what about these shapes? What do you notice? This octagon is split into 2. The cross is split into 1, 2, 3, 4. And the diamond is split into 4 as well. They are split into parts, but they are not equal. And remember that being equal is the really important part, okay, when we're looking at fractions. So they are not equal. What fraction of these squares has been shaded? So I've got a blank fraction here and I need to fill it in. So what fraction of these squares has been shaded? Now remember, I always look at the denominator first, the number at the bottom, which shows our whole shape and what it's been split into. So let's count each of the parts. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just check they're all the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my denominator is 4. How many parts of each of these shapes is shaded? Remember, in the shaded part is the coloured part. So there's 1 shaded part here, 1 shaded part in this square, and 1 shaded part in this square. So it is 1. What fraction is this? Can you tell, whoever you're with, what fraction that is? It's 1/4. So 1/4 of each of these squares has been shaded. A unit fraction is a fraction where the numerator, the number on top, is 1. Does this shape represent a unit fraction? So let's work out what the fraction of this shape is. Okay, so draw your fraction line. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. How many parts are shaded? 1. So yes, that is a unit fraction, so we can give that a tick. Oh, a really bad tick. Let's have a look at this one. Does it represent a unit fraction? Remember that a unit fraction has the numerator as 1. How many parts have I got? I've got 2 parts. How many parts are shaded? 1. So that is also a unit fraction. What about this one? Written as a fraction. Is the numerator a 1? Yes, it is. So 1/3 is a unit fraction. I've got 2 here. Do these represent unit fractions? Remembering that the numerator, the number on top, has to be a 1. So no, neither of these are unit fractions because they have got a 2 as their numerator. What about my pictures? Let's work out what the fraction is first. So what fraction have I got here? I've got 1, 2, 3 trees, and 2 of them are circled. So it is 2/3. So this is not a unit fraction. Does this represent a unit fraction? I've got 3 trees and 1 of them is circled. So this is a unit fraction because the numerator, the number on top, is a 1. Now this one's a bit trickier. Is this a unit fraction? See what you think. I have got 6 birds, okay? But I can split them into groups of 2 by splitting them into 3 like this. There we go. So I've got 3 groups. So how many of my groups are circled? Oh, I don't want to do that in green. You won't be able to see it. So if I've got 3 groups, 1 of them is circled. So it is a unit fraction, and it is also an equivalent fraction, which you will come on to later in the week. So don't worry if you didn't understand that one. That was tricky. Okay, Bruns, you've got to circle the unit fractions. Tell me which letter shape represents 1/3, which image represents 1/4. Write the fractions for the shaded part. Remember, the shaded part is coloured, and then you've got to match the image to the fraction. Silver, you're doing questions 1 to 4. You've got to complete the sentences for each shape. Then you've got to do it for the strawberries. You've got to tick the shape that has half shaded and tick the shape that has 1/3 shaded. Gold, you have got to tick the shapes that have a quarter shaded. Right, what fraction of each shape is shaded? So you need to tell me the fraction, what is the same about them and what is different. So write a couple of sentences for me. You need to tick all of the unit fractions, and then can you think of any more unit fractions? See if you can find 3 more unit fractions for me. And then you need to match the objects with their unit fraction card. Platinum, you have got to work out the original number. So here is 1/4 of a total. What was the total number of the footballs? This one is 1/3. You need to find the odd one out. You don't need to explain it, you just need to find it for me. And then this one you need to prove whether the child is correct or incorrect. As always, you can email me or Miss Smith any questions you have got, and I will speak to you tomorrow.